So I'm back at the wrong way reed mine, and last time I was here, I didn't get a shot looking down this, what, 1,000 foot incline shaft? Is it
900?
900 feet. So that's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it. That's a 900 foot drop. This is like about an 80-degree incline. There's no ladder, so we can't go down this, but that is pretty deep. And back there behind the head frame is the winch with all that cable still on it. So we're leaving the head frame area, and this tunnel, when I was here not too long ago, was blocked, but it has since been opened up by other explorers. And now we can get further into this mine, which is really huge, multi-level, with thousands and thousands of feet of workings, if not miles. So we should be able to see some cool stuff up here now that the tunnel has been made passable by fellow explorers. Let's go check it out. So last time I was here, this tunnel here was totally blocked, but now it's been dug open and there's a strong airflow coming out of there. So let's go check it out. So this is crawling through the dugout tunnel that wasn't dug out when I was here a couple months ago. You can hear the airflow coming across the microphone. There's a lot of airflow coming out of here. And some bats down in there flying around. So that's where we're headed. So just almost past this cleared out tunnel, and it's clear beyond, and you can see it going down there. Right there where my light is. So that's where we're headed. So we just came through that little gap down this pile, and you can see the ore vein right there, kind of a greenish yellow. And what was it again?
It's gold, dude.
Gold, yeah. It's gold, dude.
It's
oh, it's not?
no, it's a silver mine.
Oh, that's right, silver. I've been in so many mines I lose
There's
track
gold
of.
in here, but it's primarily silver, copper, and gold.
And we're headed down that way. These are really modern tunnels. You can tell by how wide they are. They would have used rubber-tired vehicles in these. There's no ore cart tracks.
If you look closely, you can see the indentation from the tire marks once we get further down.
Yeah. So Justin was saying this flowstone you see right here, it's rare because it's got copper staining in it, which is that bluish color. Usually the flowstone is like all this white, but this one, it's coming out in the, I think it's coming out in the video. It's got some bluish tint to it, so. And we're headed that way. Okay, so we're going to climb over this second collapse and keep on going down. You can see over there on the timbers on the left-hand side some of those components for the electrical wiring. There's some right there, and then further down there's a couple more. So those are still here. So we just came over that, and now we're approaching a stope. This mine has over 30,000 feet of drift levels, or drifting. So there are many stopes in this mine, and this is one of the big ones. That goes way down there. Some kind of wooden ore chute remnants. And we're going to take this side tunnel, which kind of skirts the stope. Right there where my light is, that's where we're headed. Let's get a shot looking down in here. So this is looking into the stope, and you can see there in the center, there's a pillar they left behind for support, and on that pillar, you can see a discarded sheave wheel zooming into it. And that probably there's probably a head frame up to the left. Yeah, there's the sheave wheel, kind of just laying on that support timber. No way to get to that, but that probably came from what might have been a head frame or an ore chute right up there. Probably a head frame. They're hauling stuff out of this stope up to this level, which I think was the main drift level, or the main haulage tunnel. But yeah, this goes down, we don't know how many feet. this stope, so wouldn't want to fall in there. And there goes a rock. So here we pick up ore cart tracks, and now we're skirting that stope that's immediately to my right, behind this wall. Here's that remnants of that collapsed head frame or ore chute. More wiring. And we're gonna head down that way. So we're continuing down the straight stretch. The shot of the tracks and the cross ties. The wood in here is like dry rotted. It's just, you touch it and it crumbles. So continuing down this straight stretch, right here to my right is an opening into that stope that we were looking at earlier from the far side. I don't want to get too close to this because it could collapse, and that would be one heck of a drop. But yeah, that goes way down. That's kind of like the end of the stope, I think. But yeah, we'll head back out to this tunnel and keep on going down. Bending to the right up here. And looks like another collapse. Yeah, these are pretty corroded.
That's Jim's doing too.
So can we get through here? That's the question. Okay, we just came up through here. Here is a collapsed ore chute. That would have gone up to upper levels, and you see these massive boulders. There's 1, 2, and right here in front of me, 3. And other boulders that have come down. But we're going to continue down the tunnel. It keeps going. So let's go check it out. We're really getting pretty far inside this mine, so it's massive, just massive. So there's those big boulders. We just crawled past that collapsed ore chute and picked back up the ore cart tracks. And these pipes on the side, the 2 pipes would have been for air and water for the drills. See this all the time in mines. They always have the pipes running next to the ore cart tracks. Major collapse here. Look at all this. Look at that timber. That's about 1 foot in diameter.
Oh, I see something.
Okay, so the tunnel continues this way past another collapsed ore chute. That's what these timbers were for. That's about 1 foot in diameter, I think. But we're not going to go any further because this big round timber here on a diagonal, it's part of the collapse, and you can see this big boulder right above it. That is a gigantic boulder. And this wood is so rotten, like I showed earlier in the video. So the integrity of that wooden timber has been compromised, and it's going to fail one of these days. And it's only being held up over here on the right, up against the wall. It's not even wedged in. So I think my camera's out of focus. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's kind of damp in here too, I think. But anyway, and there's just more boulders beyond that. And but if that would come down, that would be a serious accident. But you can see a ladder here. There's a ladder right up there that was probably part of the ore chute. Probably went up the side of the chute or something. It was a manway. But yeah, that's just like a house of cards there. So we're not going to continue up that way. Just isn't worth the risk. And back there you can see more big timbers right there past the arch. Someone peeked over here, and I think Justin did, and said it does continue, the tunnel, but we're not going to chance crawling underneath that big timber with that big boulder suspended above it. So let's head back out to the portal. Yeah, so the reason why we didn't go underneath that timber, holding up that big boulder, this is the exact same size timber, and look how it just corrodes. They are seriously compromised.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, that's why we didn't.
Strength of toothpicks.
That's why we didn't go underneath that timber down there where that big boulder is, because this wood is terrible. I've never seen wood in a mine this compromised. I mean, it's amazing.
You just barely touch it and it just crumbles.
Yeah. So we're gonna head back out and to the portal.